Hello to all of you out there interested in ProMISe and dear ProMISe followers. Today I'm going to tell you about the 3 main steps of the ProMISe improvement method and how continuous improvement can become a second nature of your company. ProMISe realizes continuous improvement by eliminating root causes of process interference and optimizing daily workflow without disturbing the operation. In this video you will see screenshots in the Dutch language. At this time of recording, ProMISe is used in the Dutch, German, Polish, Finnish and English native languages and can adapt to any language on dialect at your wish. ProMISe envelopes 2 interlocking plan, do, act, check Deming cycles in 3 steps. The first Deming cycle is a daily cycle to gather the necessary information, verify it and start corrective actions supported by workflow management. The second Deming cycle is a periodical cycle that analyzes the results from the daily cycle to invoke and monitor preventive measures. Let's view them in more detail. We will start with what happens at every shift. As an operator starts his or her shift, he or she logs in to the ProMISe web application. If there's any feedback for him or her, ProMISe will display this directly on entering the system. Where this feedback comes from is explained further on in this video. If there is any feedback, you cannot enter any other functionality of ProMISe. One has to clarify every individual feedback message as read. In this way, upon making your next registration, it is impossible to state that one did not see the message, since access to any module but feedback is made impossible by the system. After you read all the feedback messages, ProMISe grants access to other functionalities. Once you read your feedback, provided there was any, simply start doing the things you should do as an operator or shift leader. During your shift, you mostly will encounter undesirable situations in the wildest variety you can think of. These can be planning failures, material supply failures, logistical failures, quality deviation, machine failures and/or simple human error. We're all prone to that. No exception over here. So if you encounter any irregularities, the last thing we want you to do is to find some computer somewhere, log into the system, report the event, go back to the crime scene and start solving the issue. That would be intrusive to your operation. Still, you'll be surprised how many reporting systems require to work that way. Not so ProMISe. If you encounter a problem in operation, go and solve it your way. We at ProMISe believe in the craftsmanship and learning capabilities of your staff. It simply means operation first. This means that ProMISe does not and will never interfere with daily operation. So go and do your duty during your shift. You might encounter several, sometimes many interferences. But in the far majority of your shifts, there are also moments of control where operations run smoothly. And I would add to that, if not, give us a call right now. These moments of stability and control are the moments of your shift where you sit down, put your feet on the desk, get a cup of coffee and report all interferences to the system. You can report an event guided by our unique dynamical ProMISe matrix by means of the web-based desktop application. During operation in the field, you can use the ProMISe app. That is especially designed to function outside of any network range, so no need to invest in expensive Wi-Fi coverage. ProMISe can also be very simply hooked up to your process computers or PLC by means of our open interfaces. So to help you remind the number of and moments that interference took place, ProMISe provides a whole array of supportive tools. A revolutionary feature of ProMISe is the unique expert module that suggests operational solutions to the problems you encountered. Connected to the ProMISe matrix are instructions for the operator on how to handle in that specific case. Once you selected your situation in the matrix, ProMISe displays in order of probability a number of known solutions. If none of the known solutions seems to be applicable for this specific event, a number of alternative solutions is displayed as a suggestion that could help resolve the situation. Of course, if you start with ProMISe, no solutions are available. So, should you start an implementation trajectory to fill ProMISe with solutions? No, nothing like that. The ProMISe philosophy is to learn on the job and be trained by the men in the field. They know best. And if not yet, they are well capable to learn the best practice to be applied tomorrow. Hence, if you don't find a solution in ProMISe yet, simply type the actions you undertook to keep operation going or to restart them. And please don't publish a complete Charles Dickens. Just a brief description of the steps you took. The cycle of registering events and solutions can be repeated just as often as your shift requires. The dynamic properties of the ProMISe matrix in combination with the proper steps to be taken in phase 2, which we'll soon address in this video, make sure that your administrative load will reduce pretty quickly. Besides events that interfere with production, there are always general conditions in production that your shift successor or your product manager should be aware of. These typically concern safety, good housekeeping, quality, health, environmental issues, and, well, anything you can think of, except interferences, of course. These remarks can be noted in the shift report module. By this time you should think, hold on a minute, if the shift report contains information for me to know, reported by my pre-successor, shouldn't those have been read at the start of my shift? Yes, they should. In fact, direct on reading on your specific feedback, if any, you should read first the shift report before starting active duty. And that is the main working cycle during all shifts for all operators. At this point in the workflow, the shifts generated a lot of information that needs to be processed on a daily basis. To prevent long sessions where people of multiple disciplines are present, ProMISe contains tooling so shift leaders or supervisors can very easily prepare the daily operations meeting, reducing the time spent around the table. Typically present at the daily meeting are the production manager, maintenance manager, an operator and the shift leader. In some companies, a quality, safety and health manager is also present, albeit in most cases just partially. The first thing to do is to evaluate all significant registered events. While the vast majority are already processed by the shift supervisors and can be skipped for now. These corrected registrations are recognizable by a black font. For the events that need further processing, open the registration for editing. Modify the registration according to the latest insight now available in this group of people present at this meeting. At this stage, you can also initiate a work order, for example, to your maintenance department. Also at this stage, the self-learning training loop to deal with signals coming from your process computers is also completed. Further details on that topic can be seen on our video about the tech toolbox or the SCADA system integrations. This is also the place where you provide the feedback we started with in phase 1. An example of a constructive feedback could be that you modify the registration with help of the ProMISe matrix towards the real root cause of that interference. And that you've converted the comment of the operator into a new node in the matrix, saving him and his colleagues the hassles of typing comment, replacing this effort with a simple mere mouse click. In this way, the ProMISe matrix grows according to the actual needs of your company. And you reduce the administrative load on your operators, raising the quality of your data. All at once. Work smarter, not harder. Simultaneously, you adapt the ProMISe matrix to the latest needs of your company. You can modify and upgrade the matrix in real time. The team can now shift their attention towards the more general information in the shift reports. As preparations for the meeting, every member should have read the reports on beforehand and added comments or new work orders if needed. During the actual meeting, the teams can swiftly skip through all reports and the vast majority only needs an approval click. As final act, the team should run through all the work orders and only address the work orders that need attention by more than a single person. Just as with the shift reports, all attending members should run through them in preparation to the meeting. Everyone can then return to their stations and individually further process the actual data in the system. There's no need to wait for each other around the table. And that concludes and completes the daily cycle. After a while, a well-organized team, even in a complex industry, should need no more than 10 till 15 minutes a day. With that, your primary continuous improvement cycle is completed. These are the daily steps that in time will assure that continuous improvement becomes second nature of your organization. As stated in the beginning of this video, there is also a second cycle. This cycle is more focused on improvement by structurally eliminating root causes and prevent them from happening again. Periodically, and this means monthly, quarterly, or even on a yearly basis, the statistics and KPIs will help you set the right priorities to raise your performance to the next level. By means of our global OEE reports, the detailed OEE reports, our in-depth guiding Pareto analysis, only made possible by our unique ProMISe matrix, the trendings, predictions, and your personal reporting, you can select the most costly interference or downtime root causes and start an improvement trajectory to prevent them from ever happening again. The reports you created can be stored in ProMISe and are used to monitor the effects of the preventive measures taken based on the latest data. And with that step, the second plan, do, act, check cycle, securing preventive actions, is also completed. A truly new feature in ProMISe is the integrated form constructor. You can create any form you can think of and as many as you need in your specific field of work, making ProMISe arguably the most versatile improvement toolkit on the market today. As a brief summary, with ProMISe, continuous improvement becomes second nature of your company. The defined but flexible workflow guarantees easy ISO 9001 qualifications. You create a unique knowledge base helping preserving knowledge within your company. ProMISe has a very lean information flow and it will increase production. ProMISe motivates teamwork while leaving space for individual input. And last but not least, it's really easy to use. For more information, have a look at our website www.optimizeyourprocess.com or our YouTube ProMISe Continuous Improvement channel, where you will find lots of videos where we'll tell you all ins and outs of ProMISe. Thanks for now and see you in the next video.